Welcome, everybody. It tastes different gaming news. What's in the news today? Well, Yuzu said screw you and is now Suyu. All right, a new Switch emulator is in the works, and the teen, formerly Yuzu, is now Suyu. And they're taking extra steps to avoid legal trouble. Last week, the popular Nintendo Switch emulator Yuzu was taken down after Nintendo filed a lawsuit against the developer Tropic Haze, which ended up agreeing to a $2.4 million settlement, despite the developers behind an upcoming replacement emulator, Suyu, S-U-Y-U, seems confident they can avoid a similar outcome. So, after Yuzu shut down, and it was only a matter of hours before replacements began flooding the internet, of course, because internet don't skip a beat, in an attempt to take the emulator's place, these came despite Nintendo making a stance against emulators very clear. Nintendo's history is emulation bad, my money, my toys. So, the team behind Suyu, formerly Yuzu, is doing its best to avoid ending up in the same trouble that Yuzu did, after allegedly consulting someone who's been to law school for legal advice. Speaking to Ars Technica, one of the emulator's contributors reveals that Suyu won't be monetized, won't provide guides to help users play games, and furthermore, it takes a strict anti-piracy stance. Trying into this, users will supposedly be required to use real game keys from titles they own and have paid for, as well as the firmware from their Switch. However, it was noted by the contributor that there's no way for the emulator to verify certain that these games are legitimately purchased. It's worth noting that following the lawsuit, the team behind Yuzu also expressed a strong anti-piracy stance. Okay, I don't really think you can be anti-piracy and run an emulator. But it's kind of funny that, 1 minute they're down $2.4 million and they have to shut their emulator down to hold my beer. We're going to try this again. So let's go to these guys. These are computer people here. So let's find out what they think. Pat, Yuzu, now Suyu. Are they screwed?
I think they're asking to be sued again, right? Sue you. Sue me. Sue you.
Sue you. Sue you.
It sounds like the only thing different now is they're not going to offer any type of paid early access like Yuzu was doing, right? Yuzu was free. But if you wanted early access to versions of Switch games and things like that, you had to pay for the early access, the paid early access. So they're just now, the only thing different it sounds like that they're doing is they're going to say we're no longer charging for anything. So you can't come after us for any money. We can't bleed a turnip dry, can't bleed a rock dry. I don't know. Do I think this is going to stop Nintendo from coming after them? No. I wonder why it took them so long to go after Yuzu. Was it because they didn't know they were getting paid for it? I don't know. I don't think this is going to protect them because the only thing different I can see here is that they're no longer taking monetization for it. If that's all it takes, then everybody's going to start doing non-monetized, I mean, from my understanding, Yuzu has been in since 2019, I think, or something like that. So 5 years. Why did it take Nintendo this long to go after them? I don't know enough about Yuzu to say what they were and weren't doing because I never used their emulator. There's not enough on Switch that I needed that I thought I needed to. Yeah, I have PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So I have those for games, and Switch, I just buy what I want to play. I don't know. I don't think this is going to save them, but it might. I mean, I don't know how you can sue a company that makes no money for $10 million. I mean, they'll probably make ad revenue, right? Everything will be free, and you got to go to their website, and there'll be ads on their website. Their forums are all supported by ads. Everything's supported by ads, so they'll be making money somehow. I don't think this is going to save them from another Nintendo lawsuit, but maybe it is. Maybe and I'm not a lawyer, so I have no clue what grounds Nintendo had on suing them. If this here, because it didn't even go to court, right? Yuzu's just like, whoa, we're sorry. Have some money. We're out. We're shutting it down. And then from the ashes of Yuzu spawn Suyu. It's probably pronounced something totally different than Suyu, but it looks like Suyu, and we're gonna have fun with it. So Nintendo said Suyu. No, they said we're gonna steal that name. That's our name now. Sue me, no Suyu. We'll sue you, Nintendo. That would be funny if Nintendo tried to sue Suyu, and Suyu turned around and sued them and then won. We don't make any money. We're not giving people ROMs. We're not giving them anything. We're giving them a way to play the game. We're giving them a way to back up their legitimate copy of the game. What they do with it outside of that is outside of our hands. You know, you can't sue McDonald's for making people fat, you know, so you can't sue me for people pirating games. You can't sue the grocery store for killing sea turtles with all the plastic bags, you know, so I don't know. Where's this going to end, right? At some point, the company really, unless Yuzu was sending out pirated copies of games, then yeah, Nintendo should have went after them. But if Suyu just makes a free emulator, it's a huge gray area. And unfortunately, the law needs to weigh in on this to determine, is this gray or is this black and white? Because it needs to be black and white. You know, the law needs to say, there's the line, don't cross it. But they haven't done that enough yet to say, because I'm torn on this, right? I think that you legitimately should be able to make a backup copy of any game you want that's on a physical media. Because if that physical media gets destroyed, I still have a copy of the game. Plain and simple. I'm also I'm a very vocal advocate of self-service and repair of the crap I own. And when companies are like, oh, just void your warranty or this does that, or we won't sell you parts, I'm against that. So I'm really against software companies of any kind telling me I can't back up something that I legitimately purchased, because physical crap happens to physical media, right? If I can back up all my stuff digitally, I have essentially kind of foolproofed my disaster avoidance. So if I have 1,000 Switch games, which I don't even know if there's 1,000, but I backed all them up digitally in the cloud and my house burns down, I still have them. So there's legitimate reasons for all of this. Do I believe Yuzu and Suyu are acting legitimately? Oh, hell no, I don't. They're in it for the money. They're in it to help you pirate those games. But at some point, companies like that need to exist to get the law to make a decision to say, this is the line, do not cross it. And pirating is illegal. So if you get them busted in piracy, then there you go. But until then, they need to be able to make an emulator or something so I can back up all of my crap into ROMs and play them in case of a disaster or in case something. Or I want to buy that thing. I want to buy that game, and I want to send that sucker off to get water graded and put in the plastic container, never to be unsealed again, but I want to be able to play it still. Something like that, you know. There are legitimate uses for all this stuff, but I think Yuzu and now Suyu is in a little bit of illegitimate places and doing some things they shouldn't be doing. But that's not for me to decide. The court needs to decide that. What do you think, Nick? Are you ready to sue you?
No, don't sue me. Yeah. And I mean, Yuzu and Suyu, these are different developers.
I don't think so. It's the same developer.
No, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it's the same. It's the same developer. The
developers behind an upcoming replacement emulator Suyu seem confident they can avoid a similar outcome.
Yeah, it said the developers of the popular Switch emulator Yuzu are behind the new project Suyu. Suyu is based on Yuzu's source code and is an open source project that doesn't support piracy. So yeah, it's the same developers.
Yeah.
Wow. Ballsy.
Let's see if that pans
Bowser
out for them,
balls.
Cotton.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think like Pat said, it's a gray area. Like, I like emulation. I enjoy that using emulation. I think it should be around, but with Suyu, it's like they are saying you have to have legitimate copies and things like that to they don't have anything to verify that, but again, that's a gray area. It's like, here, I gave you the tools. What you do with these tools, it's not really my thing. It can't do that, right? That's pretty much the extent of it. This is what it's for. It's for backing up legitimate copies. It's for, you have to have it, they say, even though there's no way to verify that you have it. You have to use the firmware, legitimate firmware and everything so everything's got to be on the legit, on the, the same level. But, once it's in someone's hands or outside in the community, what the community does with that emulator, what can you say? It's just like, a lot of those emulation places will allow you to download an emulator, but they don't provide ROMs, right? And so that's how they get away with it is, you have an emulator, which you can use to a lot of the CD-based emulators, you can actually pop a CD, if you have a CD drive, in your computer and play those games legitimately through the emulator, right? So, that's their purpose, is to back up and be able to play your games without having the physical console there with you. But of course, we know that, most people that utilize emulators typically go and download ROMs and pirate these types of things. But I think emulators are a good thing to have, right? And mainly because of what Pat was talking about, being able to back up your, if I had a way to back up all my games, I would do that, right? I would take all my games and back them up to some sort of cloud-based system or something like that to store them, because, Pat's exactly right. What if something happens? What if a fire or tornado or whatever the heck, I don't know, a meteorite comes and the only thing it hits is my game collection and destroys it? Then, what do I do about that stuff? And to be able to have a backup of that would be nice. And especially if you had a backup of that and you could download an emulator where you could play your backup, that's very convenient, right? Without having to make sure that, because something happens to your Switch or your Xbox or your PlayStation or something like that. You don't want to have to go, especially if an older ones are sometimes harder to find. They can be more expensive. So if you can download a free emulator on your PC and play the backup of your games conveniently on your computer, then, that's another reason to have them. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's more of a gray area. I don't know if they're going to work harder this time around to get around the legal stuff, right? They don't want to get sued again. So they're going to work more diligently this time to make sure to avoid that. But like Pat said, it is a very gray area and we don't know where it sits. I think emulation has a place, and I think it needs to exist, and I think it should exist. I just don't know where it begins and the law ends, that type of thing, right? And how that all kind of comes together. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long Suyu stays around before they're sued out of existence.
Yeah, it's. I don't know emulation. I know of it. I've never done it. I downloaded Resident Evil 5 demo, the Japanese version, when it came out, because I really wanted to play it, and I couldn't wait. Never could figure out how to do it. I was able to download the demo, but you had to do other crap, and I had a really dinky PC at that time. It was basically for porn. So, the problem with emulators is I don't think a current console you should have an emulator for it. Now, the reason I think that is because it is still current. you can still you can still pick up the game most places and blah blah blah. Now that being said, I do believe that once that generation has died, I think you should be able to back it up. They should be able to have it on standby in some cloud or whatever, because it's yours. Because you don't buy games anymore, though. You buy the right to play them at your own peril. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's gross, but it is the way it is. Now, I personally would love to be able to take all of my games and put them on a backup, be able to play them on, take my Switch games, put them on a computer. That'd be awesome. But, I understand why, you shouldn't be able to, at least on current. I think, once current dies and the next generation begins, then that's your game now. I think that's yours. You should be able to do with it what you want. Granted, there's a lot of scammy people out there doing things to, hurt others on it. So, but it is what it is. I don't know how to feel about it. I just know it's funny as hell. They're like, you know what? We could do it this way. We talked to a guy who got a D+ in law school. So let's find out.
I love on their website for the status, it says that we don't have any official build yet. If any website or person is claiming to build of Suyu, take it with a grain of salt because it may contain malware. Until we have an official build, it might be a better idea to keep using the last version of Yuzu. So it's like, even though we're sued, it's like, keep using the old version. We'll change the name on it. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, Nintendo don't mess around. I mean, they just don't. They are not one to play fair with their toys, never have been. So, but a lot of their games on the Switch, on their free classic stuff, I can't remember what the hell it's called. I haven't touched it in forever. Some of them don't even run right. So,
well, and like I said, I don't even agree with the current gen concept. Where you're against current gen, because I need to back up my current gen.
But that's why you buy digital. That's what they want. That's just another reason they want to force you to buy digital. But it's also, still not your game. You are renting it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, they could also make the argument that physical media is your license. When you lose that, you lose the license, because technically that is true, right? Like, if I buy, Elden Ring, I'm just gonna use Elden Ring example. When I buy Elden Ring on physical disc and the disc gets broken, or I lose the disc, I lose my license. That's exactly what is the concept behind that, right? Because so now that means that I can't back that up. I'm not allowed to back that up, because there are like illegitimate things to do, right? I could back up a copy of that game and take it right back to the store, or trade it into GameStop, and now I have an illegitimate copy that I'm running because technically I relinquished my license. Because I think when you trade in a game, you relinquish the license. But what happens if that copy gets destroyed? Now I have relinquished that license. Is that what they're saying? That's why I would ask Nintendo. I'd be like, so Nintendo, if I buy a Switch game, a physical Switch game, and that game gets destroyed, did I lose my license to play that game? Or do I still have a consumer right to back that game up and play it on an emulator? And they might say, if you can no longer play it on our device, then that's illegal. Or that they can't say what's legal or not legal, but they could say you are violating the end user license agreement by doing that, which is probably what they're doing. They're just saying that you can't do this because you're violating the end user license agreement by making a backup of this, which then the government, the law needs to step in and say, you can't do that. Because I think you telling me that I can't protect an investment of my money is illegal. You can't tell me that I can't protect something that I bought.
Yes, they can, because they've been doing it for decades. VHS, as soon as you popped a VHS, and what's the first thing you saw? No pirating, no illegal copies, playing
but it
this
said
in front of a group.
Illegal copies. You were allowed to copy the VHS to another VHS as long as you did not distribute or what was the other one?
Public.
Have home showings.
Yeah.
Home showings, right? Like, I wasn't allowed to copy that movie, put it in my VCR, and invite the neighborhood over to watch a showing. Because technically, if you invited the neighbors over to watch a movie, you were pirating that movie. Because you're not allowed to do any free showings of the movie, you know?
Yep.
But you weren't allowed to copy VHS because they made the dual head VCRs just for that.
Oh God, I remember those.
Just charge them for admission.
The school where my kids go.
Then you're really doing something illegal.
This has been years ago, but the school where my kids go, they got a cease and desist from Disney because they played, I would say it was like Chicken Little or something at the school during lunch or whatever. Disney lost their shit. It's like, come on, there's got to be a common sense median. It's not like, the school was charging $10 a pop. No, it was during lunch. And at this point, the movie was still like about 5 years old.
But it doesn't matter though, right? Because that's still piracy because they charge people.
They bought it. That's their goddamn. See, that's the whole problem with things like this.
Because that's a difference.
What's the difference in me? But it's not.
No. What's the difference? No, that's not true. If you bought it, you can watch it as much as you damn well please, but you cannot broadcast it to an audience.
It's mine. If I want to show my class,
no,
not that I have any, but if I wanted to show my class,
well.
That's bullshit.
There's education licenses for shit like that. That's the see.
No.
You have to understand.
That's kind of crap that takes things too far.
But why do they take things too far? Because if
you charge those kids $3 a pop, for the movie and some popcorn, then I can kind of understand it.
But I can. That's true. They are charging. They are charging. They charge the parents to make sure their kids go to school. So they are charging to watch that movie in school. In a roundabout way.
Not.
Do you not pay taxes for your kids to sit in that classroom and watch that movie?
No, I don't pay taxes. Shut the fuck up.
Bullshit. You cannot freely broadcast something for the world to see. What I think is funny is we do this. We do this today. Video games. Video games are the only entertainment that we allow broadcasting over the internet for others to see for free of charge. Like I can broadcast myself playing a video game on Twitch, on YouTube, on everything. But if I broadcast myself watching a movie, damn well I'm getting a knock on my door and a lawsuit. I mean, that's the only medium that we allow that on, right? But movies have always been that way, right? Like I remember cops being called when I was younger because a neighbor had a projector and was projecting a movie on the back of the building. And kids were watching it from all over the neighborhood. And
it was porn. That's why they called the cops.
No, it may have been like, it was something stupid like Back to the Future or something. And that's illegal because it's clearly in the whole copy claim when you first, like I said, when you first start watching the movie, it's like, you cannot broadcast this to an audience. You can't charge for emission. You can't do all this stuff. Right. So, but yeah, I understand where they're coming from. You gotta, if you want the legalities that you've put in place to stand, you have to protect them, right? So, not that I'm saying what they did to school was right, because I honestly could give a shit less, But at the same time, they're like, we're not going to allow you to have a movie showing at your house with this. So why would we allow you to show it to a classroom of 30 kids for free when that's 30 potential revenue losses, which it's 5 years later. Those kids either saw it or they were never going to see it at that point.
And it was Chicken Little. I think bombed.
Yeah, well, but like I said,
I like the movie though.
It's still one of the, like, we can only do that with video games, right? That blows my mind when I see that. I see some guy playing a brand new video game online and showing everybody in the world, but it's because you're not physically playing it. So I guess
it's because you're creating revenue for that site. That's the only reason
you're creating revenue for Twitch and YouTube. You're not creating revenue for that developer.
Nope. No, I think that's the reason is, somebody's making money, they're happy.
I don't think so.
No money.
If I charge all those people if I charge everybody in that classroom $5, they wouldn't be happy to watch that movie.
Oh, no.
So somebody made money though.
For Chicken Little?
Somebody made that money. Somebody made money though. It could have been a special. Come watch Chicken Little, $5. I'll give you a can of Coke and a bag of popcorn. Yeah.
You sound like a pedophile.
It's a bag.
Bag of popcorn and a can of Coke, you know? So I don't know. Media is a weird beast is all I'm trying to say, is because one thing is illegal in one genre and it's legal in the other genre. Like streaming a video game, perfectly legal. Streaming a movie, not legal. You know, backing up my video games, illegal. Backing up my movies, legal. I mean, it's just this whole roundabout. Because I remember back in the day when you wanted to back up your physical PC games, you had to buy a drive that would do 0-bit translations of that drive, like an old Nero drive. A drive is supported by Nero and all that kind of crap. And you're like, I need a low-level bit drive that I could pull this stuff off bit for bit and do a bit for bit comparison. And that's a big no-no. No, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. And it's like, bitch, I own this disc. I bought it. But well, as you said, you're leasing it. You got a license to use that product. So I don't.
Yeah, it's the whole digital medium is a very slippery slope overall. I mean, yes, the owners of movies, yes, they need to be able to protect their product, and I understand that to a point. The same thing with video games. I understand it to a point. But there's also got to come to a point where the consumer has a right to the things they pay for. So that's my biggest issue is, the little person doesn't have rights. The company has rights. So, but I do love the fact that this company is spitting in Mario's face and just telling them to suck it. I think that's hilarious. I like the idea of somebody standing up to Nintendo. I mean, that's freaking hilarious. It's Bowser's Bowser. I mean, it's great. So, but you guys got anything else?
No, I just gotta say, like, creating of all the emulators out there to create, this company does have a lot of balls making a Nintendo one. Because if it was a Sony or a Microsoft one, it'd probably go on without an issue, right? Yeah. I don't think they give as much of a crap as Nintendo does.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure they care, but Nintendo really is a stickler about that stuff.
Oh yeah. I imagine they've got a whole department that monitors these things and watches for them. And you think it's just Steve?
It's just Steve.
I know. Might be Steve and Barry, but Nintendo ain't going to tell us. So, but you made it to the end. So tell us what you think. Is it a good idea to spit in Nintendo's face and say Suyu? Do you think emulators should be legalized? Do you think that the companies have little bit too many rights compared to the consumer? Tell us what you think. Also, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notifications. Don't hit your grandma because that ain't nice. But give us all that good stuff because we like to have all that. We definitely like when you guys give us your feedback about things. We really enjoy that. We do our best to make sure that we respond as promptly as possible. And if you have nothing nice to say it to us. We don't care. So anyways, until next time, see ya.